Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to another gritty Monday morning here in Tacoma.
It's been a while.
It's been a little while.
Took a little holiday break, but
We did.
we're back.
Then we recorded an episode that wasn't that great.
Well, yeah, quality assurance, quality control.
Yeah.
That's what we're about here.
Just so you know, guys, there's episodes that you will never see because we decided they're not up to the standards of the Grit City.
Do you think like 30 years from now there's going to be some like people in a Reddit forum like, "Yo, I heard about some lost episodes
Exactly.
on Monday Morning Grit. Does anybody know anything about them?"
And then people will say, I also heard the legend, but they never were released. Yeah. So, it's a new week.
It is.
It's just the two of us this week. I like it. We got a little variety. We've had some guests on recently.
That's correct.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we got some Tacoma news to cover. We got the Monster Jam coming around the corner. Oh my goodness! Have you seen the commercials?
I have not. I've seen like the like billboards. I haven't seen the commercials.
Ooh, well, there's a truck that like slams on its face, I guess. Don't even really get the tricks. It's like a reverse wheelie on the truck.
Okay.
But it goes all the way.
Huh.
Yeah, that was the one promo I saw, was that one move. It didn't seem like their best move, too.
Is Gravedigger still around?
Oh, dude, Gravedigger is the beginning and the end of monster trucks. I think he's the first one and the finale.
Okay, and that's in the Tacoma Dome, right? Monster
in the
Jam?
Tacoma Dome, yeah. I think it might even be the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Ooh.
Sunday, as they say. Yeah, have you ever been to monster trucks?
I have not been to monster trucks.
Ooh, doggy.
Closest thing I've been to is NASCAR.
Well, that's a monster vehicle of some kind.
They're definitely souped up and very loud.
Yeah, what makes a truck into a monster?
I think...
Does it have to kill one human being?
I feel like maybe they have like very technical specifications. Like I feel like it's like, you know, the tires have to be this big in order to be a monster truck, you know?
That would make sense.
'Cause that's the thing. Like the monster truck, it can just roll over all the regular size cars and trucks with its big wheels.
There you go. That's kind of... You're right. If it can... when it runs into another vehicle, it destroys it, that's a monster.
It clobbers them.
Yeah.
It's clobbering time. They should make a thing themed... is that that's the thing, right? From Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's clobbering time.
Yeah, clobbering. You don't hear that word that much.
No, I feel like it's old fashioned. Now we just say we're gonna beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, it's smash.
I'm smash them.
That's what the Hulk would say.
There should be a Hulk monster truck and a Thing monster truck.
You know, there might be. I wouldn't know if there weren't.
Probably not. You know, Disney's really they keep a very tight grip on those trademarks.
That's fair. Let me rephrase this question. What's your favorite monster, and do you think it would make a good monster truck?
My favorite monster, and do I think it would make a good monster truck? That's a good question. I have not really actually thought about what my favorite monster is.
I feel like you're a Loch Ness kind of guy or a Bigfoot.
Do you remember you remember Mighty Joe Young?
I do remember Mighty Joe Young, the mythical giant gorilla.
Yeah.
That's a great yeah, that would make a good monster truck probably
like,
too. Mighty Joe Young the truck?
Oh, absolutely. Great name for a truck.
Mighty Joe Young, yeah.
Mighty Joe Young. It's got mighty in it. How you can't.
And it's like the young upstart new truck.
Just rolled fresh off the lot at the monster truck factory.
Yeah, and it could smash good probably too.
Oh, it's clobbering time.
I think they probably had to have a King Kong, but Mighty Joe Young's I think cooler than King Kong.
I think so too. King Kong overdone.
Yeah.
Too many remakes. It's been done a million times. They only ever made one Mighty Joe Young movie.
So true. And how come it's always giant gorilla movies? What about the giant orangutan movies?
I guess
there's just regular orangutan movies, I think. And only one or two of them.
Orangutans I guess they look too goofy to be monsters, you know?
They are kind of with their big bellies.
Yeah.
And the way their arms just like reach way high above their bodies.
But yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Mighty Joe Young truck.
That's a great call.
How about you?
Me, what's my favorite monster? I kind of like, the werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that'd be a very good monster truck monster.
If you could somehow find a way to take a regular truck and then make it turn into a monster truck right before the audience's eyes, that would be a pretty cool gimmick.
And now I'm thinking, what about the Minotaur?
Ooh.
That's a great monster.
Classic.
Hiding in the labyrinth.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And so then your monster truck could have like some horns on the front.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Gosh, what boggles my mind is just like the logistics around Monster Jam, right? Because you have to truck
How do they get those trucks there?
Yeah, not only that, but
do you think they ship them?
Oh yeah, they probably take them apart, ship them, and then rebuild them like
every time.
Every time.
Whew.
There are.
Dude, I didn't realize that if you want to be a motocross racer, you have to rebuild your bike like every week.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 1,000 miles you put on it, and you have to completely rebuild the engine.
That's crazy.
It's like something ridiculously small.
Huh.
So yeah, it's way more expensive to be like a BMX guy than I would have thought.
Jeez.
But yeah, so I imagine these truck guys, they'd have to rebuild them every so often anyway.
Yeah, and like you can't do it yourself, so like every
just one guy by himself with a giant wrench.
Could you imagine those tire changes?
Oh my goodness. You need a pit crew for that.
Yeah, but they just got some crack squad of guys that are specialized in working on gigantic trucks.
That's probably the dream job for them.
They've
been training in the Napa for eons, and then they finally got the call up to the big league, and got a call to change the bolts on the monsters.
I feel like it's one of those things where like it's just been done in your family for generations, ever since trucks were made. Like, grandfather worked on monster trucks, your father worked on monster trucks, and now you are teaching your son how to work on monster trucks because that's what your family does.
I wonder how long monster trucks have been around.
I imagine they've been around
like
long.
500 years?
Maybe not 500.
They were far preceded the invention of the gas engine.
Can a steam locomotive be a monster truck?
Yeah, right. like some kind of steampunk vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did experiment with like steam-powered cars at one point, and it's like, this is just not okay. This is not a good...
This only works downhill.
But like, not only the trucks themselves, you got to find all of these scrap.
You got to find these monsters to drive them.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, how do you get into driving monster trucks?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how these guys were just like, you know what? I'm gonna drive a monster truck.
You think you drive a mini truck first?
You got to start with something.
You start. I think what happens is first you buy a Ford Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Then you get the 150. Then the Super Cab. Then the 350. Work your way up.
Yeah. Okay.
But I actually think that's pretty much the story of the guy who invented the first monster truck, where he just kept making his truck bigger.
Yeah.
And then he just made it bigger and then bigger and bigger. Until someone was like, Jesus, that's like the biggest truck I've ever seen. I want to bring my cousin over to see this.
That was the first Monster Jam. Monster Jam 1905.
Yeah.
But
the first truck was probably considered a monster.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Ford model, I don't know.
Was it the F or something?
I think it was. That makes sense because, all the other trucks afterwards are F-Series, except for, you get
the Model, because the Model T wasn't really a truck, right?
No, I wouldn't consider it a truck.
Does it need to have a bed?
Because
I don't think monster trucks have a bed, do they?
No, they don't.
Where will you sleep?
What makes something a truck? Huh.
Yeah, in the UK they call it a ute. I think it's short for utility vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I guess. I don't know what a truck means, so I don't know if it's better or worse.
Well,
you use it to haul to a vehicle, to move things, to truck them around.
Do you think like there's sort of like a sense of elitism amongst like past truck owners before like truck became sort of like a ubiquitous term? Like it's like it's not a truck, it's an REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, because like trucks are not popular around the world.
No,
like it's pretty much just America where people drive trucks. And I remember I actually watched an episode of Top Gear one time where they were making fun of of trucks.
Yeah.
It might have been a F-150, it might have been a whatever, but they were driving around and like pretending they put their groceries in the truck bed, and then as they were driving around London, people just would steal the groceries out of the bed as they were at a stoplight. Obviously, it never would happen, but
right.
It's maybe not never. It's probably happened sometime.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people that
you can get a cover.
Yeah, of course. You need a whole canopy.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean, it's like even truck companies sometimes don't understand like how truck owners actually use their trucks, because there was like this Ford ad that was like, look at how tough the bed of our truck is, and they just dump a bunch of gravel in there, and it's like,
I've been there, brother.
It's like, I would never buy a new truck now without getting a bed liner. You're an idiot if you don't get the bed liner.
Right.
Like, come on, you got it.
You're
damaging the aluminum.
It'll get all dinged up.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I mean, have you ever seen an old truck that's been dinged up from gravel? Hardly ever.
Yeah, but maybe the paint on 1996 Chevy S10s wasn't as good.
Yeah, but it's also like, it's kind of cool to have tears in your jeans.
Oh yeah.
If your high vis has a few scuff marks on it, it's like I've actually been in the field.
You know what I like to call that?
What?
Well worn.
Well worn, exactly.
Well worn.
I was listening to a podcast, Matt and Shane, and they were talking about Bruce Springsteen. Mm-hmm. And how sometimes it's kind of fun to be like, they call it bruising out, where you're just like proud of being blue collar a little bit. We're like, oh yeah, my hands are rough and I work outside with the hard metal and a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my truck, it doesn't have the bed liner, but it gets the job done. It's not pretty, but it's got a few dents in it.
But going back to the logistics of Monster Jam.
Oh, yeah.
All the dirt. You got to build dirt mounds inside an arena.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
You got to drive dump trucks
inside
the Tacoma Dome and just dump dirt. And then when you're done.
Where do you got to take it away to the next city?
You got to take the dirt out.
Do you think they take it city to city?
I don't think they
or do they locally source it?
They probably locally source it. So,
So there's somebody's job that's pretty much their whole job then.
Yeah, they go ahead and scout out like where are we going to get the dirt from for Monster Jam. They're like, find us.
That might be the biggest expense.
It very well could be. It very well could be.
Why don't they just dig?
Like just wherever?
Just go down to the floor. There's dirt.
Well,
they end up using like they just get a well and like an Archimedes screw and go down like 100,000 feet, and that's how they get their dirt.
Well, maybe the dirt doesn't go down 100,000 feet.
No, probably not 100,000.
But like, with that being said, I'd like to think that
just do it 1,000 feet 100 times then.
Ah, okay. That's a lot of holes.
Yeah, it is actually.
It's a lot of holes. You wouldn't want to go wandering around there in the dark.
No, put a cover on it.
Put a cover on it. Just a big plastic, like Rubbermaid cover for these holes.
These 1,000-foot deep holes.
Yeah.
No, you'd fill them back in when you're done with the show.
Okay. Ah, gotcha. But while the show's going on,
park a monster truck over the top of it.
Okay. But the show's going on. The monster trucks are at the show.
Mm.
I feel like I feel like
build the mound on top of the hole.
Your neighbors are like, what the fuck is going on in your backyard? It's like, oh, I'm letting Monster Jam borrow some of my dirt for the weekend.
Yeah, I got some to spare.
Do you think
just dig, baby, dig?
You probably get like a commemorative plaque like this dirt was featured at Monster Jam 478.
How much dirt do you think they need? Probably a lot.
Oh, tons, dude. Tons.
More than
literal
tons.
Yeah. Hundreds of tons
of dirt. Hundreds of tons of dirt.
And it's got to be trucked in to the middle of the Tacoma Dome, dumped, and then cleaned back up, in time for whatever other events they have planned.
It's one thing to go to the monster truck show and be impressed by big trucks. It's even sillier to go and be impressed by all the dirt. Like, wow, look at all the dirt they moved to get it in here. You're right. It's like excavating for an entire building.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is I wonder if because of that, it's locally sourced dirt. Every Monster Jam has unique dirt depending on location. You go to Georgia.
Oh, and they might have some red clay.
Exactly. Go to Georgia, nice red clay. Georgia red clay.
I mean, we both know what kind of dirt's in Georgia. Don't try to fool ourselves.
But, yeah, Monster Jam, of all the sports, most democratic.
Oh, how so?
The fans can vote on their phones of which truck did the best.
Whoa, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had no idea how it was judged.
Yeah.
What do you just overall who did the best that day?
I think it's for each event, right? Because it's broken into events.
Longest jump.
Yeah, so there's
longest wheelie.
Yeah, and then there's
most cars crushed by truck.
There's a freestyle too. Oh. It's sort of like a floor routine for gymnastics, but we're talking about a giant truck.
Do they do the one with the ribbon?
I don't think they do. That would be funny if somebody did do that.
They tie a ribbon to the truck and dance around.
That might actually be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool if you got a really long ribbon.
It's like a very large truck can still be graceful.
Yeah.
So much grace.
I go to the Monster Truck Rally for the grace and for the dirt.
It's like I'm going to gymnastics, but I need to wear ear protection. You know what'd be funny? Just start wearing ear protection to events that you don't need ear protection.
Funny.
Big over the ear. Like you go to a city hall meeting and you just have some big cans on your head.
Yeah, like an autistic baby. Yeah.
So yeah, other things in the news. So the Washington started this Office of Independent Investigations, and basically it's a completely independent civilian-run office that's supposed to investigate uses of force by law enforcement. And it's supposed to be the first of its kind in the country, because most of these agencies that do investigations are either from another adjacent law enforcement entity, or it's the police's own internal affairs. There's one problem though. They can't find any staff for it.
Oh, nobody wants to do it.
Nobody wants to do it.
What's the pay? Not enough.
I haven't looked into the pay yet.
$100,000 a day. And nobody will do it.
No one will do it. It's probably something like, we'll pay you $15 an hour minimum wage to investigate uses of force.
I feel like I would be interested.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
What are the qualifications, you think? You got to want to do it?
At this point, I think they might be getting that desperate. It's like, does anybody want to go investigate some stuff?
Investigating sounds interesting.
Investigating sounds very cool.
It'll satisfy my curiosity.
Do you think they'll let me wear my high-vis vest?
I feel like high-vis is not great for sleuthing.
But if we're sleuthing on the side of the road and we want to be safe.
That's true.
You
can't. Maybe you don't want to be safe.
You can't be sleuthing when you get hit by a car, Then you're not sleuthing.
I guess that's maybe true.
But yeah, so yeah, it's like there's a bunch of buzz, like it's the first in the country, and maybe this'll do a lot of good for us. But
maybe
at the same time,
we'll be leaders in greatness.
I think
across
there's
the country, they'll look to us.
I think there's potential there, just if we can find the people.
Yeah. Well, somebody will step up. Maybe it'll be one of our great listeners.
If you're interested in investigating police uses of force, the state of Washington is looking for you. Go on.
Where, do you think you have to live in Olympia or something?
No, I mean, there'll probably be like field offices, right?
Okay.
But we'll see. I mean, it's.
And I got another question.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call our listeners? Do we have a name for them?
I feel like we got to earn a name.
Yeah, it'll come naturally.
It'll come naturally.
Yeah, the Grit Cityans.
The Grit Citizens. The Grit Citizens.
The Grit Citizens, yeah.
I don't know.
It sounds like I like that because it sounds kind of like the Good Citizens. Grit Citizens of Tacoma.
But yeah, I mean, it's probably going to get posted on what is it?
ZipRecruiter.
Jobs.washington.gov or something like that.
.gov.
A lot of great state jobs out there just waiting for you to fill them. You can get state retirement benefits. Maybe free tickets to the state fair.
Would you? I was talking to somebody who used to work in a lighthouse.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that?
Sounds lonely.
It's supposed to be lonely, but I think that's only classically. I think there's some lighthouses that aren't that far away from.
Yeah, like isn't there one?
You can still have a wife.
Isn't there one out at like what is it, Browns Point?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I could still live here and work in the lighthouse.
Yeah, you could go to the Cliff House and have some drinks and.
Yeah, or I mean, I could live there and my friends would still come over.
Would
you be like, no, I can't go over to it's too bright over there?
Do you think like you still actually have to live at the lighthouse? Like I feel like, you should just have to live in proximity of the lighthouse. You look out your window every now and then and you're like, oh, it's still on.
I think you got to make sure it's on.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
But if I don't know if you got to be there at all times to know if it's on. What if you're asleep?
But I feel like I have better visibility of the lighthouse if I'm not living in the lighthouse.
Oh yeah, when you're inside, how do you even see it?
How do you know?
Maybe it reflects down through the house and it's bright.
Maybe it just makes like a humming noise.
It probably is. It probably does make a noise as it's spinning around.
And
you'd be like, hey, something's amiss.
I mean, isn't that sort of like a cliche of like the solitary like lighthouse operator losing his mind?
Yeah, I'm not sure who came up with that. If that's Virginia Woolf or if it predates that. But yeah, it is kind of a classic. Because lighthouses, they've been around for an amazingly long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or very, very early invention.
I mean, I think
before the light bulb, significantly.
Yeah, because I think the Greeks used them, like ancient Greece.
Yeah, they just used like magnifying glasses and things like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? There probably are openings for lighthouse operators in Washington. If you're interested,
I think it'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
You'd probably get free lodging.
You would get free lodging. Do you think you get free, like a unlimited pass for Washington State ferries too?
Ooh.
You can ride the ferry whenever you want.
That would be nice.
Not redeemable for Pierce County ferries though. So if you're going to Anderson Island, sorry.
It's only if to Bremerton you can go. So you got any Tacoma related things coming up this or that you did last week?
Oh, well, this was actually, I guess, 2 weeks ago, but we did go to the Model Train Festival.
We did. I know we hyped it up on the last episode.
Very, very charming.
Very satisfying.
I love it. There's something just charming about watching little miniature trains go around and around in a little miniaturized version of our own world, Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to see, like, what directions these clubs go with it. Like, there was that one where it was like different eras. Like each person got a spot along the track, and they could do whatever they wanted with it. So it's like, this is, Joint Base Lewis McChord in 1978, and this is downtown Puyallup in 1940, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they try to keep like their miniatures like period correct, and that was cool.
Yeah. And then there was like the European one, and
man, that one. Where do you get he got an entire miniature marching band and a circus.
It was pretty cool. And he was proud of himself,
Very proud.
He was like, the European train is better than the American train. He's like, American train, only five cross-continental routes. In Europe, 5,000.
It's. I wonder if Europe, I guess Europe standardized their railroad gauges, but it used to be they had different railroad gauges.
They gauged it out.
Yeah, so I know the Soviet Union, they were like, what should we make the railroad gauge, right?
Mm-hmm. It's an important question.
And they were like, who
did it the best?
Are the people least likely to invade us? And they were like, the Spanish. So the early Soviet railroads used the Spanish railroad gauge.
Because they want to use something that was compatible with one of their rivals?
No, so none of their adversaries along their borders used the Spanish gauges. So if they wanted to ship troops over by rail,
they had
for
to
instance,
use their stuff.
They would have to change out the trucks on the train to fit the gauge.
That makes sense.
But,
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but yeah, European rail, completely different beast from American rail.
What another animal over there.
I know, it's crazy.
Although that guy was underestimating the amount of trains we have in America.
Well, I think he grossly underestimated it. The map he had of the American railroads was like, I'm pretty sure that was like the Amtrak service coverage map. But if you pull up all the railroads in the United States and where they each have trackage, the map looks like a mess. It's almost unreadable.
Oh yeah, it's untenable.
Yeah, especially on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, that's Train City over there.
It's his festival. We'll let him revel in his time.
Yeah,
when we see him on the street, though, we're gonna be like, hey. Next time, you better come correct.
Hey, look out your window there. You see those trains? They're right there.
I didn't see that on your map.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of...
seeing things on a map?
Well, about railroads, Tacoma Rail, I believe, is shutting down their mountain division.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so...
so that you won't be able to go over the mountain pass?
Well, I think that excursion rail that you're talking about, I think they got rid of that like a couple years ago during COVID.
Okay, well,
this is an actual like they were hauling freight. So you know where Frederickson is?
No.
It's near it's like east of Tacoma, like up in the mountains.
Okay, I know Tacoma.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with Tacoma.
So
it's east of Tacoma.
Yeah, yeah. So it's up into the mountains,
so it's
right?
not west of Tacoma.
No. But so there's a Boeing plant there. They don't build planes. It's not that exciting. They make components for planes.
Of course.
But one of they're probably the biggest customer there, and Tacoma Rail would send freight trains up there. And why that job is a big deal is it's a 4% grade going up the mountain. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but for a train.
For a train, that's big, especially if you're hauling stuff like,
heavy things.
Yeah. I guess Tacoma Rail sold the mountain division.
Who'd they sell to?
Or I don't know who the new operator is. I've been trying to figure that out. Maybe I'll email Tacoma Rail and get back to you, because they do have like an email to reach out to them.
Division.
So I'll be like
Q&A. Frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
Who are you guys?
I actually might be able to meet some of them in person.
Did you have any interest in joining any of the clubs? Any of the train clubs? You'd probably be by far the youngest member.
The model train
Except
club.
for that one guy.
He was an odd one.
Yeah. Well, I think he was just surprised by our
enthusiasm,
affability. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about it, but it's such an expensive hobby.
It's only $10 to join the club.
It's $10. Yeah.
They'd probably give you free trains.
I don't know, man. Those trains they're like $300, $400, $500.
No, because what happens is the club is made up of 10 80-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be in the club for like 2 years, and when one of them dies, they'll pass it down to you. They'll be like, that young kid in the club, he really cares about these trains more than my grandchildren would. I'm going to leave them to him so he can have some trains.
I wonder if, like...
You show the passion, dude, they'll be...
I wonder if
have a whole new friend group.
I wonder if that, like, happens, but there's, like, a lot of, like, shade in there, too. Not in the sense that, like, they're all tight. Like, they're part of the same railroad clubs, but they're, like, fans of different railroads. So it's like, I bequeath my trains to you. And you're like, what the fuck is this Chesapeake and Ohio system? I only do New York Central.
Probably.
But, yeah, so Tacoma Mountain Division, I guess, is gone. I'm going to reach out to Tacoma Rail. And
you should try to get any of their dying merchandise.
I was about to ask them if they were selling
got any hats available.
If they were selling any of their locomotives.
Oh. To see if you could pick up a locomotive?
How much
do you think one costs?
Oh, man. I wonder if it's one of those things where it's such
You won't even get into model trains.
I wonder if it's one of those things where it's such a pain in the butt to get rid of, they'll pay you to take it off their hands. That's thing.
That's like retired ferries.
Or the big cranes at the port. When they have to get rid of those, they'll pay you like $100,000 to get rid of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but...
Start at the top, work my way down.
But, Tacoma Rail's still doing, their Tidelands division, the Lakewood division. It's just, Mountain's gone. So, we might see a new operator around. But I'll reach out to Tacoma Rail and see if I can get more updates on that.
I would be very curious how much it costs.
Oh, to get a locomotive?
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah.
Could you independently operate a locomotive?
No, you can't. You need a conductor. You need a conductor.
Oh, but I mean, like, if you just hired a conductor, could you go on any rail?
I don't think so. You have to pay to use the tracks, right? And it's probably not cheap.
No, I don't think so.
And you're also going to be the lowest priority. Do you think, like, that would be...
If you lived right on a train track and your work was on train track and you had a locomotive, you still wouldn't be able to pull it off, probably.
Probably not. I mean, just like the amount of like resources you need to operate and maintain a locomotive is just not worth it.
Not worth it for an individual.
This is why wealthy people buy jets instead of their own private trains, because I'm pretty sure running a private train is probably a bigger pain than actually owning a private jet at that point.
Probably.
If you built your own railroad, right? Like you get like, I don't know, a few hundred acres somewhere and you just build a loop, then you can train your heart out, It's not connected to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. But, hey, you know how like the Washington Lottery has like the Department of Imagination commercials? It's like... I'm going to buy the Tacoma Rail Mountain Division, the whole division.
Just for me to ride around on.
Just for me. Like, all these people are like, oh, I'm going to go skydiving 1,000 times in a row. It's like, no, I'm going to get into the railroading business, just like our forefathers.
That would be funny.
That would be funny. That would also be very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would see that coming.
Yeah, it'd be like Atlas Shrugged.
I hope there's no big... Actually, I can't spoil Atlas Shrugged in case you haven't read it yet. It's only been out for like 100 years.
It's just about families that own railroads.
But there's a big train crash, right? Everybody dies in the train crash.
Not everybody.
Most of them. Some of them. One.
You mean characters in the book?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not everyone is in, like, the entire population of the Earth got on a train like Snowpiercer and then it crashed. But
that didn't happen in that book.
Okay.
I would agree.
But Atlas did shrug.
But somebody did die. I think you're right, in a train crash.
Yeah. Maybe I should read that book.
I actually think you'd really like it.
I mean, not to get super political, not really a fan of Ayn Rand's whole philosophy, but I do like trains and stories about trains.
Yeah.
Business can be compelling, too.
I agree. No, I'll lend it to you. I got 2 copies. My brother and I both got a copy for some reason.
Awesome. Was it like a gift?
No, we both independently purchased it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Makes me want to do like an Andy Rooney, like, you know what I don't want for Christmas? A copy of Atlas Shrugged. I already had to read it in high school, and that's when Harry S. Truman was president.
I think that is about when it came out.
So there's a town hall on the 13th of January.
Oh, really?
About people opposed to a possible airport being built in rural Pierce County.
I'm so in favor of that airport. We got to go to that.
Yeah.
When is it? Or what time is it in the day?
It is, I'll get back to you on the time. It's probably, they probably timed it so it's right when the buses stop running, so the bus people can't get to the meeting, you know?
That's probably smart if they did.
But it's at...
but yeah, we should go. I'd love to go to that.
Okay, it's at Graham Kapowsin High School. It's probably out in Graham, Washington, because that's, I think, where they're thinking about possibly...
putting an airport in Graham?
There's 2 places they're looking at for airports. Thurston County, rural Thurston County, and rural Pierce County.
It sucks that airports have to be so far away from the center of the city.
Yeah, and I think...
I mean, it makes sense, but...
It's, well, I don't know if it's they have to be, but the amount of opposition you would get building it closer to the city, I mean, you would just have lawsuit after lawsuit after blockage and blockage. Like, the amount of legal fees you'd pay is crazy. But the thing is with this airport is it's got to go somewhere, right? Like, it just seems like whatever the opposite of a tug of war is between people in Thurston and Pierce counties who are opposed to the airport, right?
Oh yeah, what's the opposite of a tug of war?
Maybe
like a seesaw?
Wrestling.
Yeah, thumb war.
But the problem is the Seattle Tacoma metro area is continuing to grow, right? But Seattle Tacoma International Airport is starting to reach maximum capacity. And I mean, if you just drive by the airport, like the amount of earth moving they had to do to build that airport.
My God, it's like they have a monster jam every day.
They actually got the people who do the dirt for Monster Jam to do the dirt for Seattle Tacoma International.
Good thinking.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. There's nowhere to expand that airport, so they're just gonna have to build a new one somewhere.
We're like New York over here.
I know. It's actually interesting, and like internationally, this is a problem of people being like opposed to airports. The one in Tokyo, Narita Airport, the local opposition to that airport built a tower that was in the approach for one of the runways and kept the airport closed for years after it was finished.
Wow.
Because they built this tower in the middle of nowhere. So in order to knock it down, the authorities had to build a road out to the tower so they could transport heavy equipment to deconstruct the tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it took that long?
This airport, just... I'll have to show it to like this stuff to you later. It's incredible, like the protest movement, like the mobilization against this airport.
Interesting. My brother was telling me in the next 10, 15 years, 2-hour flights are going to be so economically and fuel efficient that they're going to supersede a lot of other types of travel.
Wow.
The 2-hour flight is going to be way, way more common for people to take.
Wow. Hopefully the customer experience is better too.
Yeah, right. If you're just in a thing with 10 other people rather than 150.
It'd be a lot of headache for air traffic control.
Well, it's more smaller airports will start getting bigger.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Because it'll be like instead of driving to Bellingham, we'll fly to Bellingham.
Yeah, so it won't be like this giant like hub and spoke system, but instead you'll have lots of nodes within the system.
Exactly. So maybe it'd be like you fly to Seattle, or you fly to SeaTac, and then you take another flight down to Pierce County.
I'm surprised there's not more commercial air travel coming out of Boeing Field. Like you could build a terminal there. Not a big one, but you could build a terminal there.
I bet even a big one.
Yeah. I mean, like you could easily do regional flights out of there to like Portland or like Pullman, Washington, Spokane, Everett. I don't know, just a suggestion. I'm not an airport expert, but
soon, not yet.
Not yet. I will be. Once I'm done with my railroad, then I'm going to win the lottery again, and then I'm building an airport.
I remember I saw this episode of Dog the Bounty Hunter one time, and he had just captured this lady who was taking her to prison or whatever, and he was like, "Don't you have any dreams? Don't you want to be anything? Don't you want to be a mother or own your own airline?" That was a second example of a dream.
What?
And that made me laugh so hard because nobody has this dream.
No.
It's a ridiculous dream to have.
People want to maybe fly planes, but nobody wants to own the airline.
Own the airline? Yeah, maybe own a plane would be nice.
Do you think he's just like projecting his own dreams? Like he really wanted to own his own airline, but now he's a bounty hunter on TV.
Maybe he's still on his way.
Maybe. I mean, that's how he's getting money to buy his own airline. What do you think? What do you think he'd call his airline?
Dog line.
Con Air.
Oh, good one,
bro.
He starts his own Con Air. That would be sick. I could see him doing that.
Hell yeah, dude. It's an airline. I wanted to talk about a place.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Old Spaghetti Factory?
I have been to the Old Spaghetti Factory, I think, one time.
Has anybody ever told you a lie that sounds so believable you were actually shocked when it turned out to be a lie?
Probably. I can't think of an example.
I was told that if you rent out how there's the trolley car in the middle of the Old Spaghetti Factory?
Yeah.
Well, you can rent out the trolley car for events, right?
Okay.
You get your own little section in the trolley. And I was told that if you ring the bell on the trolley, they bring out Spumoni ice cream for everyone.
For everyone?
In the trolley, at least. Not for the peasants.
Not for the entire world.
Yeah, no. Not for the entire world.
Just everyone that was on the train when it...
Well, they at least they got Spumoni before they died. But yeah,
I don't know if I'm a big Spumoni fan.
Okay, I mean,
Do you like Spumoni?
I think I like gelato more than Spumoni.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Spumoni's it's all right. I feel like leave it to the Italians to be so innovative with ice cream.
They are one of the greats.
They are.
All cuisine.
Yeah. But, yeah, the Old Spaghetti Factory, if you ring the bell on the trolley, they don't bring Spumoni for everyone.
What if you sneak in?
Sneak in Spumoni?
Sneak in and ring the bell.
Nobody cares, I feel like.
Okay, then.
But I at first I thought you were...
We should have a similar bell here at the studio.
At the studio?
Yeah, Spumoni bell. When you ring it, everyone
gets Spumoni.
Everyone has to eat Spumoni whenever the bell is rung.
Oh man, I feel like there's got to be a rule, like it can only be rung once a day.
Yeah, minimum.
And if you ring it, you have to replenish the Spumoni reserve.
That's smart.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, at first I thought you were proposing like smuggling in your own Spumoni. The logistics of that operation,
untenable.
Could you imagine, like, of all the things to sneak into a venue, I couldn't imagine something worse to sneak in than ice cream.
It is suspicious and hard to hold close to the chest.
And it's very melty if it's hot outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's why Dippin' Dots are the ice cream of the future. Much more easily smuggleable.
You're just like trying to go to like your son's graduation, high school graduation, the Tacoma Dome, and you're waiting in line and you just start leaking ice cream.
Sounds like me. Cool. Well, do we add anything else before we wrap it up for the week?
Oh, so I've heard about this new place that's going to be opening hopefully sooner rather than later on South Tacoma Way. It's called Howdy Bagel.
Oh, yeah? I like bagels.
So a couple guys from Texas decided to move to Tacoma to bake New York bagels.
Ah, Texas New York bagels in Tacoma.
Well, word on the street is they're trucking in water from New York.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard about this.
I mean, and that's...
You think it's worth it?
Water, terrible commodity.
Yeah, well, do you think it gets... Like in the shipment, it'll lose its New Yorkness?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think so.
It'll be like, no, this is... Do you think you could identify New York water if you tasted it, like, they give you a sip of New York water, and they say this is New York water, and then you have to identify it among 10 different other waters?
I don't think I could, but maybe if you, like... You've lived in New York for like 40 years and all you've tasted is New York City, like tap water. Every other water doesn't taste right to you. So you at least know that you're not drinking New York City water.
Do all of the boroughs get their water from the same aquifer?
I believe so.
That's got to be a giant aquifer.
I think it's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, so all of the New York water is really from Pennsylvania?
Correct. It's the Pennsylvania, New York, Texas bagels. Here in Tacoma.
Here in Tacoma, just like you want it.
Yeah.
That way it gets all the grit on it in the process.
I mean, I feel like the grit would help with the New Yorkness.
Yeah, maybe.
It's an old water system.
What's your favorite kind of bagel?
My favorite kind? Poppy seed.
Oh.
Big poppy seed bagel guy. Something about all those just little seeds on there. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
The texture.
Plus, you love poppies.
It's got great mouthfeel.
It does have a nice little texture to it on the undercarriage. That's pretty good. I like this. Do you like scooped out bagels?
Scooped out bagels? I don't think I've ever had
they fill it in with stuff?
No, I don't think I've ever had that before.
Well, we'll see what this bagel place has to offer. Maybe you'll have to try it for the first time.
Okay. Yeah, well, Howdy Bagel. We'll keep you updated when it opens.
Yeah, maybe I'll bring some by on the next episode. We can have a taste.
Yeah.
Except I don't think it'll open that soon.
Not that soon. Probably not at next episode soon.
All right, well, maybe the episode after that.
Do you think... it's just unbelievable. Like, I want to believe they're going to truck in water from New York, but it's so expensive.
I feel like I would just say that and not do it.
Yeah.
Like, who are they going to... Are they going to have a video of the truck coming in?
Maybe they
I would just lie.
I would. I would be like... I'd get, a big 18-wheeler tanker truck filled with water, but on the tanker, I'd put, like, a custom wrap on it, and it says, "Follow me for New York-style bagels."
Yeah, and then you go, and then you detour and drive all the way to Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like the truck comes by and it has Pennsylvania license plates, and you're like, "Hey,
wait a second here.
That's not the Empire State." But yeah, I mean,
where all the bagels are made from.
I hear it's the same thing with pizza. It's the water.
It's the water.
It's the water.
I mean, it affects the dough, but so does the yeast.
You got to get some of that. You got to get some of that world famous New York yeast.
Yeah. From the nuns. No, that's what they're fit. There's like some really old bread yeast mothers that are kept in convents in Europe from like the 1500s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Pretty crazy.
Have you had the bread?
No, I've never cared for it.
Okay. Reminds me of those stews where they just keep adding things to it for hundreds of years.
Yes, a Mulligan's stew.
Have you had one of those?
I have.
How was it?
Not like for hundreds of years, but a stew with a lot of ingredients in it.
Okay.
It's like a leftover stew that has like continual leftovers.
Ah, all right. Anything
else for us this week on Tacoma?
Well, I'm closing on Wednesday at Tacoma Comedy Club.
So. The Wednesday mic.
Yeah.
That's not Martin Luther King Jr. Day, is it?
No, that's next Monday.
Next Monday. Okay. Well, get ready for that too.
Oh, it's gonna be a
good episode.
Great episode.
One of my favorites.
Very.
You know, one of my favorite things about Martin Luther King Jr. was that he had the foresight to be born on a Monday. So you always remember he was born on a Monday. You get the Monday off.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It's always on a Monday.
Always on Monday.
Yeah. He had at least this Monday.
Because that's not how birthdays work.
Not usually. But that's why he was so great.
Okay. His birthday was just, it was always on the Monday.
It was always on a Monday.
Always on the Monday. Tremendous foresight.
Because he had to do it. That was like his first thing he ever did.
Wow. Was be born on a Monday?
Yep. He did it.
All right.
And I'm forever grateful. You know, I get the Monday off.
Yeah.
Except I don't actually really get the Monday.
I don't think I get it off.
Well, some people get it off.
Yeah.
Not the Grit City people. We'll be recording. We'll have an episode for you next Monday, too. So,
yep.
Looking forward to see you next week. And until then, have a good pre-Martin Luther King Jr. Day week.
Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. Day Eve. All right.